So the Yaesu FT710, in common with the DX10 and the FTDX101, really they're all about the screen, aren't they? You've got an extensive menu system, you've got a touch screen, but you've also got on the FT710 a number of physical buttons. So I just thought we'd look at the front of the transceiver with the radio actually switched off. And I will just go through what physical buttons and knobs you actually have on the radio. You'll see we've got a row along the top of the radio as well. So we'll just go from left to right. So we've got the power button here, power and lock. We've got the tune button for the auto ATU, and we've got a Vox button. We've got a headphone socket here, and then we have the modular mic plug, the sort of RJ45 connector. We've got two knobs here. They're kind of multifunction knobs, these. We've got the function knob, which actually can control the menu. So one depress on the function knob will bring up the menu, obviously, when the radio's on. And you're able to scroll through the various menu items and select and adjust them. The knob here is used to adjust the DSP parameters. But if you're in memory mode, it also cycles through the memory channels. And it also acts as a step control. So for example, if you're in narrow FM on 10 meters, you can set that to scroll up in 10 kilohertz steps. If you're using it on 4 meters in the UK, for example, you can set it so that you'll scroll up in 12.5 kilohertz steps. So that's quite a versatile control there. Hidden there, just below the tuning knob, we have a DSP reset button. That speaks for itself. That'll reset your DSP settings, whatever you have them set as. Above the to the left of the tuning knob, we've got the noise reduction button, the DNR, which is surprisingly effective on this radio. Opposite the DNR and to the right here, we've got the narrow button, which will switch in wide and narrow filters. Where irrespective of whichever mode you're in, it'll switch in the narrow version of that filter. And we've got the tuning fine and fast button here, okay, which obviously controls your rate of tuning. VFO knob, self-explanatory. Then on the top row, we've got the button that takes you from memory to VFO. We've got the button that puts your memory channel into VFO. We've got the switching button between VFO and memory operation. VFO A and B. The band button, when we press that, it'll bring up the band menu on the screen. Quick memory button there. To the right, we've got a combined RF gain and squelch control. You can set this up as to how it functions. For example, I have it set as RF gain on the HF bands, but on 4 meters it functions as a squelch control. Well, we've got the AF gain or volume control there. And just along the top of the radio, we've got the mode button. Again, that will bring up a menu on the screen with the various modes to select. We've got a spot tuning button for CW. Button to enable split operation. Clarifier button. And the noise blanker. So that's basically it for the physical controls on the front of the FT710. Everything else is done through the menu. I'll just briefly mention that it takes a second or so to boot up, if you like, when you first switch it on. There it goes, and you get the splash screen.
Okay, I've got a portable station here, the portable station,
we're on,
Golf 7 Victor.
On the radio itself. And just to show you what I mean by the function button, if I press the function button here, it brings up the menus of the radio, okay? And I can either then touch those using, I use one of these little touch screen things. I can either touch the individual menu, or using the function control, I can actually, you can see it's highlighted at the bottom row of that menu. I can scroll along to the menu of my choice, RF power for example. I press that, and now you'll see under the frequency, we've gone back to the VFO screen, we've got RF power, and if I turn the function button, I can decrease my RF power, okay? If I put it back up to 100 watts, press it again, back in the menu, and I can pick another processor level. For example, you see we hop back to the VFO screen, and then using the function control we can now adjust the speech processor. So that's the way the menu system works. As you see, if you leave the control for a couple of seconds, it times out. We'll have a look at the rear panel of the radio next. We can see what sort of connectivity it has. So here's the rear view of the radio. We'll go from left to right again. So we've got a ground leg here for a ground connection. We've got a port for a tuner or linear. We've got the SO239 antenna socket, external speaker jack, remote ALC jack. I actually use this for my LDG tuner. Jack for a CW key, RTTY data connector there. We have the fan mounted centrally. We've got two USB connectors. One is for CAT control and one is to access the internal sound card in the radio. So you'll use, I think it's this one for the sound card. So you don't need an interface for your data modes with this. You can go straight into the back of the radio. We've got a DVI external display connector there. And we've got a 4-pin power connector. So this is my kind of major criticism of this radio. You can see we've got quite a bit of blank space here. We just got the one antenna connector. Radio covers from 160 meters up to 4 meters. It's quite a coverage. Would it have been great if they could have put at least one extra antenna connector? I guess it's down to cost, and this is the smallest radio in the range at the moment. But I know the DX10 also only has one antenna connector. I think you have to go up to the FT101 to get any more. There isn't even a receive antenna connector. So this is it, your single SO239. So most people using this radio are going to have to use an external antenna switch. I've got two antenna ports on my auto ATU. So that does help to a large extent. But that's the rear of the radio. And we'll just quickly look at the top panel. Not much to see there, but that's where the speaker is. And just so we've got an idea of size, you can see my ICOM 7000 radio sitting on top of the FT710. Gives you an idea of the relative size. The 7000, of course, similar in size to the ICOM 706 roughly. And radios like the Yaesu 857D, probably a little bit smaller than the 7000, but not a lot in it. So you can see the 710, although it is the baby of the range, barring the 891, I think it's the smallest Yaesu with HF capability now. You can see it's substantially bigger than the 7000. And if I just take you around to the side, it'll give you an idea of the relative depth of the radios. Okay, so the 710's a bit deeper as well. Taller and higher than the 7000.